art for me was that real balance. And I kept that, all the way from my beginning journey all the way to the end. When we were here in Dallas and we were going through that finals round, which is a really pressure-filled, stress-filled, time of your life as an athlete, that's some of the time I spent my most time painting. After games, I would try to paint to clear my head. Before games, like after shoot around, I would go home to paint before, I started back locking in. And it was just it was a great escape for me and a great balance and a way to take me away from the game. Then I realized, like, with the anxiety and the pressures and things that I was facing, I started to look at the game different.
All right, I am so excited, you guys. At this time, I am thrilled to introduce two great friends who will serve as our speaker and moderator today. So our moderator today is Murphy Cheatham. He is a dynamic leader in commercial real estate and a passionate advocate for community and professional development. Drum roll, please. Please join me in welcoming NBA champion, Olympic gold medalist, and one of the game's most respected leaders, Tyson Chandler.
Yeah, Tyson is one of the few people that makes me feel, I'd say, like small or pedestrian whenever I go. So we've gotten to know each other really over the past year. We were introduced by a mutual friend. I don't see Cameron here, but we were introduced by a mutual friend, Cameron Lassane, and have really got to know each other. Both of us are from California. We both have sons who think they're superheroes and jump off furniture.
Spider-Man.
Yeah. And he's just been a really good friend, all-around great guy. But we know about your career on the court and all that, but can we talk about, like, early on in your life, where you're from, where you grew up, and then kind of what shaped your rise?
Okay, I was born in Central California, a small dairy and crop community. It's called Hanford, California, in between Bakersfield and Fresno. I grew up on my grandfather's farm, so I grew up with all of those obligations, and that is, I would really say, what kind of shaped the foundation, because at an early age you have responsibilities, and I watched my grandfather, go out and work and keep that up no matter what was going on, no matter if he was sick, no matter if it was raining, no matter what. I saw that structure and saw what he did for his family, what he did for the community. I think one of the biggest things for me growing up and then being able to see it through was being able to go on the ranch with my grandfather, and he worked for a guy named Mr. John and Mr. Ralph. And so he worked that ranch, and he taught Mr. Ralph's kids how to run that ranch. So at my grandfather's funeral, it was amazing to sit there and see all of the people outside of our family that had amazing things to say and how he impacted their lives and where they would be if it wasn't for him. And honestly, that really, from a young age, he instilled what the work looks like. And then when he passed, he showed me what the journey was about, because I saw the people that were in our family up there, celebrating his life.
So that's huge. So when did you move from Hanford to LA? What was that process like?
So my mom was a single mother, but I had this amazing village and, around me from my grandparents and family and uncles and aunts. But she wanted for me something different. Where I was from was a lot of factory work, it was a lot of farming work. And she's like, I want to move you to the city where my son is going to have more opportunity. So that's where we made the move from Hanford into the LA area.
So what was that like? Because I know that
was what my mom didn't realize was the financial change that was going to be happening, going from like a small town into the city. So I don't even think she knew where we were moving into, and where we moved is just like, oh, this is nice. Well, in California, the projects look different. The projects look nice. So she didn't understand we were moving into the projects. And so the first week there, I was used to being in the country and leaving bikes around. And after the first time I was riding, and one of the guys was like, hey, can I ride your bike? I was like, sure. Get on my bike. And then I just watched Buddy just keep going. I was like, is he going to come back? But that was my introduction to the city.
Yeah, that's
different worlds from country and city life.
Yeah, welcome to LA, right?
Yes.
Yeah, LA.
Good welcome.
So talk about it. It was funny. We're kind of getting into high school and you finding sports. Talk about, or sports finding you.
Yeah.
And then your mom not even realize what was going on.
So when sports found me, that's a funny story. I was in the pool at the apartment complex. We moved around and bounced around a lot after that. Like after my mom realized we were in the project, she said, we got to go from here. So we start bouncing around, different spots. And I was playing with one of my friends. I was in the fifth grade, going into the fifth grade, I think it was that summer. I was playing one of my friends, and I was like dunking him in the pool, and like he would get on my shoulders because you playing. I forgot what that game was called, but he would get on my shoulders and do the chicken fight, I think. And then so after that, I would like keep dunking him and throwing him, and so this guy came and I saw him watching. So then he took off to the apartments and then came back. And I later on found the story, but he ran in to get my friend's mom. And he's like, hey, there's this grown man out there dunking your kids.
And how old were you at the time?
I was probably like 12. And so she comes out and she's looking, she's like, where? And she's looking around me and her son. And he's like, Tyson? He's like, yeah. And she's like, they're the same age, in the same class. And he's like, wait, what? And he was like, son, can you get out the pool? So I got out the pool and he's like, you play basketball? And I was like, for fun. He's like, you play for a team? I was like, no. He's like, you playing for me. I'm a coach. Where your mom at? And so he took me to find my mom, and then Axe got come to practice, and she's like checked with my friend's mom, and it was her brother. And so that's where my basketball journey began.
So talk about, it's funny, we were here talking about philanthropy and what you're doing now, but I think it's good to give like a background to it. Mm-hmm. So in high school, a lot of moving around, you're in sports, you're a natural athlete, and you're still having some adult like challenges and having to do real world stuff. Where did you find your solace in that as a high school athlete that now everybody wants a piece of?
That was really in home, really in my mom. Like, thank God for her. It was really just staying grounded in that. She didn't care about basketball. It was a great sport that I played, but she didn't understand NBA, the concept of basketball becoming a profession. So for her, it was all about school, education. So I would go play, and I would come back and be like, Mom, I'm pretty good at this basketball thing. And she'd be like, yeah, that's great, but you're gonna go to school, you gotta get your education. And I'm like, yeah, okay, but I'm gonna do it through basketball. And she's like, yeah, okay. She, wasn't trying to hear it. So fast forward to in high school now, and she's coming to games, and all of these college coaches are coming around, agents are starting to come around. So college coaches are talking to her, and they're like, your son is incredible, but we just don't think that we'll be able to get him. And she's like, what you mean? You're UCLA coach, right? The UCLA coach was like, well, we think he's going to go pro. I don't even think he has, I don't even think that he should come here. I think he should go pro because I don't know what we can, serve for him if that's what his destiny is. And so at that point, when she's talking to the college coaches, she went afterwards, after we went to the start, she's like, wait a minute, I guess you are pretty good at this basketball stuff. And so I'm like, so then from that, journey starts to change, before I, get drafted. But in between that, it's the struggle, the struggle of the story. My mom, I watched her make 250 food stamps, or $250 worth of food stamps, work a month. That's what we ate off of. Watching that, watching her around Thanksgiving and watching her around Christmas, seeing how the toll it would take on my mother. When I got into place to make a difference, that was the biggest thing on my heart and mind is how can I help other mothers like my mom? So my first initiative was really trying to impact single mothers. And I would, whatever city I was in, I would, when Christmas would roll around, I would try to get with whether it was the radio station or different foundations that knew mothers that could use some help, and take them to Target and get them gift cards to shop. But I would try to make sure I separated, because I knew how my mom was. If you gave my mom a gift card, she was spending it all on me, a household. She wouldn't do nothing for herself. So I would take them there and then make sure, like, the mothers at the time my mom was alive, so they would go with my mom. And then I would take the kids, and then I would take all the kids like Christmas shopping, and then let the mothers go do things for themselves and get things that they might need for the house or clothes or whatever it is that they may need. And it would always be the most fun event. I would always have the best time with the kids. It would always be funny negotiating with kids on what's important. Because their mom would always tell me, like, okay, Now you guys are gonna go over there and shop, but make sure he gets socks, make sure he gets shirts, make sure he gets this. So I would be walking with the kids like, all right, your mama said we gotta go get socks. So he's like, well, I think it's more important that I get this little truck. But your mama said you need. So that part was the funniest part, trying to negotiate the toys and clothes between the kids.
So when did you find art? I don't think people know you're in love with the arts as much as you are. Like you are for real. Like, y'all, he's probably the biggest tree hugger and artist that you will ever see. When did you find the arts, and what did it? I love the story you told me earlier about like what it did for you. Can we talk about that?
Yep. So I've always been attracted to art and didn't know what art was. If there's so I would love drawing, I would love painting, loved fashion, just loved different things of art, things that were artistic. So started sketching and drawing. I was at a young age, but I would probably say like really getting into it by junior high. And around that time is when I found that like it was like an escape for me. So drawing, painting, and all those things, it was like around the same time that, and I feel like God always puts things like in your path that helps you along the course of your journey. But so around the time that I found art is kind of around the time that basketball was really picking up. And I'm pretty sure a lot of people here play sports and play sports throughout the years. It's such a competitive thing. And for a youngster, it can create anxiety, it can create self-doubt, it can create all of these things. It has all these positives too, leadership, community, work ethic, all these other things, but then there's also some other things in there that you got to balance. And so art for me was that real balance. And I kept that, all the way from my beginning journey all the way to the end. When we were here in Dallas and we were going through that finals round, which is a really pressure-filled, stress-filled, time of your life as an athlete, that's some of the time I spent my most time painting. After games, I would try to paint to clear my head. Before games, like after shoot around, I would go home to paint before, I started back locking in. And it was just it was a great escape for me and a great balance and a way to take me away from the game. Then I realized, like with the anxiety and the pressures and things that I was facing, I started to look at the game different and really from an artist's perspective. So to help myself and take the fear away, take a lot of the challenges away, players start to become an artist to me. So instead of going against Dwight Howard or LeBron James or this person, it was like they were an artist, and I started looking at them and dissecting them as an artist and how they were able to manipulate the game as an artist. So it's like Allen Iverson, he has a crossover. It's a different art form. And, the way it's like it became musical and jazz. And it's like I started singing in a different way. And honestly, that really helped me because there was a time I wanted to quit basketball because it was just too much pressure. I had coaches in my life that had a different vision for me. And it was a tough time. And really during that time, it was my mom and art that helped me just like push past that moment. Because if it was just basketball, I would have quit, at that point. But it was like I needed something else to kind of take me away from it and something that I can ease my mind. And so that's why I'm so big on art now, is because I see how it can shift the culture, how it could change perspective. And art to me is like sports. Sports bring community together. The Olympics, you have the world coming around, you have different countries that are at war, you have athletes there kind of bridging that gap and able to bring things together. Art to me is the same way. I could be an athlete, I'll play a certain way. An artist comes in all different shapes, sizes, colors. And so it's like it's an expression from the heart and a journey. And that's what's so powerful to me, because I can express something that you can express, that she can express, that she can express, or he can express. It's such a different expression. And it's beautiful when you're actually patient enough and to sit and be able to see that and to be able to hear someone's story, because I really feel like it helps shape, impact, and change communities, because we stop looking at it from the way I look at it. You're going to look at it and see something different. And art makes you, I feel like, respect that and respect different opinions.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, they could definitely. It's funny. I don't know whether it is. All right, so I'm sorry for all the Mavs fans in the room, but can you tell just because there's different rumors about whether you wanted to stay or not. Like,
Oh, me? Oh, I definitely wanted to stay. No, I love this place. Just we were just talking about what's the three to me top cities to play in.
yeah,
You know, I think L.A., New York, and Dallas. L.A. is Hollywood, it's glitz, it's glamour, it's a show. You know, it's fun to play, but it's fun for a time. If I was picking, for as far as I go to New York, New York is incredible, incredible with the arts, incredible energy. And it's like a stage. It's like you're performing on a stage, like Broadway, or you know, they dim the lights, and but Dallas was the place that feels like home. And so the moment I came here, I got traded here, and at the time, and I feel like this is such the Dallas community, honestly. And I say this anywhere I am in the world, but I feel like it's such the Dallas community. Like the Dallas community just takes you in. At the time, I was coming off of I didn't know where my career was going to go. I had a doctor say that I would only last maybe a year and a half to 2 more years with the injury that I had in the NBA. Casey Smith, who worked for the Mavs at the time, he was working for Team USA, and he talked Mark Cuban into trading for me because he's like, no, he's actually healthy. So when I came here, I was injured, but the community took me in. I had my baby girl was just a baby at the time, and there was women offering to hold her, like while we were looking for houses and going through different, you know, where I didn't know where anything was out here, but just going to different places. It was just so much support. And then from the support, again, I was going through a tough time and injury. It's where I start blossoming, playing some of my best basketball. And it's just like, it felt like the community got behind me. I felt like I was a part of the community. And you don't get that in NBA cities. It's like, you know, when you win, it's great. When you lose, not so great. Like, get out of our city. And so the city of Dallas is just very even keeled. Like, not too, I always try to tell other athletes, I always say, you can't get too high as an athlete and you can't get too low, because when you think you up, you gonna come back down. And when you think you down, like, it's not the worst. Like, you can get back up. So it's like, just, you know, life is like a roller coaster. Like, you know, try to stay even keel with it. And I feel like the Dallas community is like that. And so I'm not from here, but I wanted Dallas. Like, when I retired, I went back to LA because that was home for me. And it was crazy because it didn't seem like home, because I left like at 18 and I spent so many years away. So then I had to start, okay, where is home and where am I going to make home? And I thought Dallas. Crazy thing is, I came back here and it felt like home. I found out, this is random, but I found out my grandfather was actually born here. And he was born 30 minutes from where I bought property at when I came here. And I kept walking around the property and I'm like, you know, I'm in transition, you know, from retirement into this next phase of my life. And I'm like, God, this is where I'm supposed to please, you know, give me signs. Like, I need to know, like, this is where I'm at. And it's crazy, from the tree hugging moment that you talked about. That tree hugging moment, I was out, I bought some land. And when I retired, I wanted to get my hands dirty again. I'm like, okay, I've been playing, like, I need something to get me back grounded. And so I wanted to get my hands in the dirt. So I bought this property. I started clearing a lot of the land myself, and I was coming back in and I was exhausted. And so I just kind of put my hand on a tree to rest, and I looked up at this tree because it felt like my grandfather, or like an old spirit. And I'm like, please don't think I'm crazy in this room, but I'm just like, and then I was so tired, I just started hugging the tree. And then my friend was looking at me and I'm like, oh, I didn't realize you were still out here. And he's like, no, they got great energy. I was like, oh, you knew this? So between that and then just really crazy moment, I have a tattoo of a tree, and it has the roots. And so I bought some property on a creek. And so I'm sitting, and again, one of those days, I'm like sitting on a bench and I'm exhausted, like looking across, because I love that. Like, I love getting tired from it. But so I'm sitting on this bench looking, and across this creek, it's a tree, literally like the one I have tattooed on me, and you can see all of the roots. And at that moment, I was just like, you know, thank you, God, like, this is where I'm supposed to be. And it's always felt like that. And it's always felt so being here and being able to speak to the community on, like, building within the community, I'm just appreciative of this aspect, because it is a special community. that needs to stay special. I know it's a lot of movement here and new people coming in and new cities, but Dallas needs to stay Dallas because it's something special about it. It's something that draws people here. And I feel like it is that warmth and family, and Dallas is very innovative with the way that they do community. So I applaud what's going on in this room and encourage because it's like when she was reading off the bios, you can make such an impact from just seeing what's around you. Whenever when we're in New Orleans and the hurricane happened, it's the little, well, it's not little, but one of the biggest things where teachers were still there, but people didn't realize a lot of the teachers were leaving, but the teachers that were there were having such a tough time because they were living in the bungalows in front of their homes. And so when we were in New Orleans, we created a foundation to be able to give back to the teachers. It was rebound for rebound. So every rebound I would get, I would donate, and then the team would match my donations. But we were able to then sponsor a bunch of teachers to be able to get out of their bungalows and fix. They were like small gaps, from plumbing to this to that, to flooring that the insurance wasn't picking up, but they weren't able to get back in their homes. So they're pouring into the community, to the students that are going to make up the community, but they don't have a home. So we were able to bridge that gap and get the teachers out of the bungalows and back into their homes so they can actually get back to educating, without the stress of living in this basically RV. So it was a huge moment. We were able to help a lot, but it's, and it's within the community. I'm saying that story to say, there's always ways to help right around you, and I use my life experience, as where my heart goes and, where I want to help. And I feel like it's the same, for this room. Like, use your experiences to lead you wherever you feel led, and don't second guess it, because it's like that help. You never understand how far it goes. When we were speaking before this, I was talking about my first time in a dentist chair was through a charitable event. They brought bungalows to my elementary, and they start putting students through to start getting x-rays and talking to us about our teeth. I would have never had that experience if it wasn't for somebody thinking about that. And I don't know who was thinking about teeth for us to put that there, but thankful them people. But it's like it's outside the box, So there's always so many things, and it was huge for me.
Now, I want to finish up with what's next for you. What do you want to do next in this whole phase?
Just honestly, continue to make an impact. Continue to use my name, my likeness, however I can make an impact, whether that's, helping out with my son's high school basketball team and helping mentoring some of the kids there, or whether that's getting behind some big organization that's, trying to raise money for. My mother passed of cancer, so that's a big thing for me. Or whether it's getting with an organization that's, raising money for cancer. It's just, honestly, I just want to continue to build to the day I go. That was what I saw in front of me, with my grandfather, and that's the same legacy that I want to leave. No rocks unturned when I leave.
Thank you, man.
No, thank you.
Thank you, Tyson Chandler.
All right, no pressure, but we have a few minutes for questions. Yes.
I'm a huge NBA fan. You got drafted in like a pretty strange time in the NBA that is wildly different than
Yes.
it is today. How did that shape you growing up in the NBA as those eras changed pretty significantly? Not only on the court, but just off the court. It just seems like a totally different experience.
Absolutely. When I first came in the game, that's when they were still allowing high school players. There was a few of us that came out, Kobe, KG, like before me. And it was a grown man's league. So it was different. Like, the bigs were big. The power forwards were power forwards. They were like bouncers in the club. So I'm 18 years old coming into that. Also, they're grown with families. Like, I'm playing video games. They got to go home to kids. They don't have time, like Tyson figured out. So it was a big, and also I'm there to take their jobs. I didn't understand that. Like, I'm like, hey, I'm chipper, happy. Yeah. They're like, this young dude in here don't know what's going on. He's coming to take my paycheck. So it was definitely an experience. The game is completely different. I'm not one of them old heads. Now, I'm not one of the old heads who sit and disrespect the game for where it is now. I love the evolution of the game. I feel like each generation is a stepping stone, you know. This game is just different from the game that I came into. I think they're a lot more skilled than we were. I think we were a lot more, I played through the 3 generations, I'll say, but the beginning was a lot more physical. So what I would say the difference in the game now is the physicality. We had old school grandfather refs who wanted to raise you even on the court. So like Dick Lavetta, Blaine, like them dudes didn't care. You had to earn your stripes. So I would do the same thing Tim Duncan would do and get hit, and they'd be like, and I'd be like, Dick. And it was easy, but like, Dick, call the foul. But so it was way different then. That made you earn your respect then. Now it's a younger league. It's amazing. It's a little more catered to. It's a lot more resources, which is a beautiful thing. But that's the difference I would say is the physicality and then the skill versus now.
Can you talk about really quick your role now? Because I think that directly talked to what your role now is with the Mavs.
Really mentoring a lot of the players and also help bridging that gap, because it's, you know, if you don't understand, which a lot of these, you'll be surprised, I'm going to say kids, grown men, players, like don't know the history. When I came into the game, you had to know your history. And there was a vet in front of you that was like me, a mentor that was making sure you knew your history, making sure when you were in drills, you knew what you were doing. You weren't, you know, cheating the drills. It's so many like little techniques to everything. Whereas now that's kind of lost. It's the business of basketball. There used to only be about 4 or 5 young players at the end of the bench that they were developing. There's all those 4, now the team is filled with young players, and then the bench is young players, and the middle guys are they're not even vets, they're middle guys. So the teaching is a little bit of lack in the teaching. So my job now is to try to help bridge that gap and teach some of the youngsters about their history, as well as help them with the game now. 2 more. Great question.
Yours?
Yes, that is a great question. I would say technology finally is starting to be a benefit in ways to the game, because the data for players to be able to scout, critique themselves, prevent injuries. So there's so much that we don't understand with data that they're trying to implement. The things that I would say that tech has hindered before now, and I feel like the gap is trying to close, is it's taking our kids it's keeping our kids inside, from not being outside, from not doing what we did, from playing, from riding bikes to playing all the sports and just the friend and community. That's lost. I see it with my kids. I'm like, get outside, like do something. But they'll do this, you know, or this like nonstop. And I don't feel like that's developing the physical tools that we need, you know, to go along with life and the sports. So I feel like it's kind of just catching up and understanding. I also think this generation, though, that's coming up, because they've had these little computers in their hand since they were born, they're smarter than us in different ways. So I feel like the past and what the future is finally kind of starting to merge. Block the shot? For sure. Every last one of them that I grew up watching, from Michael Jordan to I played with Pip to Kevin Garnett. Kevin Garnett is that was like my that was my welcome to NBA. He was like my hero who I wanted to be like. His poster was up on the wall. But as an athlete, you don't share that. But it's the competitive edge that you got to keep. And but his poster was up on the wall. My first time playing against Kevin Garnett, I really realized, okay, as an athlete or as singers out here, Beyonce does the same, like you try to change into somebody else when you're on the court. And so he was that somebody else. I hadn't turned into my somebody else yet because I was a fan trying not to show it. So we're doing our warm-ups. I can't even say what he said here. But like, so when you're warming up, you're going through layup lines, you know, you run around and you do the layup and you run back around. So when you get to half court, you're close to your opponent. So I get to half court, me and him are kind of jogging towards each other at the same time. I'm going to try to do my best to bleep, but he's slapping himself going, these high school MFs coming out think they can mess with me. They can't mess with KG. I'm finna kill this boy. I'm running for this all. And he's doing this, and I'm like, my God. I don't know if I'm going to be able to do it in this league. So That was my welcome to the moment, lady.
Thank you so much. All right. You guys are released.
Thank you.
Thank you for listening to the Murphy Cheatham podcast. If you found this information valuable, please be sure to like, subscribe, and follow.